Chapter 1, The Farmer Beyond the Gates. The royal wedding lasted 7 days. Every province of the great kingdom sent gifts. The capital overflowed with music, feasts, tournaments, and fireworks unlike anything seen since the end of the Liberation War. King Virgil and Queen Rachel stood before their people as symbols of a new era, an age where swords would rust, children would know only peace, and kingdoms would prosper together. The entire realm celebrated. Everyone except Isabella. Standing atop the western tower of the royal palace, she watched thousands of lanterns drift into the night sky. For the first time in decades, there were no wars to prepare for. No plagues to cure. No starving villages waiting for rain. No enemy armies gathering beyond the borders. The kingdom had finally become everything she had spent her life fighting to build. Which left her with a question she had never allowed herself to ask. Who was Isabella when the kingdom no longer needed its greatest witch? The following morning, she left the palace alone. No royal carriage. No guards. No ceremonial robes. She wore the plain cloak of an ordinary traveler, hoping to disappear among the crowds, enjoying the final day of the celebrations. The city marketplace was overflowing. Merchants shouted. Children laughed. Musicians filled the streets with cheerful songs. Fresh bread, flowers, spices, and fruits crowded every corner. It was peaceful, beautiful, normal. Then she noticed him. A young farmer stood beside a wooden cart overflowing with fresh vegetables, herbs, apples, pumpkins, and baskets of berries. His clothes were clean but worn. His hands carried the rough calluses of honest labor. Unlike every merchant nearby, he didn't recognize her. While others bowed their heads whenever Isabella walked past, the young man simply smiled politely. "Good morning," he said. "Looking for fresh vegetables." She blinked. No one had greeted her that way in years. "I suppose I am," she replied. He picked up a tomato. This one was picked before sunrise. She examined it. "It looks excellent." "It should," he answered proudly. "I spent 3 months growing it." She waited. Normally, this was the part where merchants insisted she take everything for free. Instead, that'll be 3 silver coins. Isabella stared at him. "You intend to charge me?" He looked genuinely confused. "Well," he scratched the back of his head. "That's usually how markets work." For the first time in years, the legendary high mage laughed. A real laugh. Not the polite smile expected of the king's advisor. The young farmer laughed with her, though he had no idea why. "I'm Grayson," he said, extending his hand without hesitation. No bow. No trembling. No grand title. Just, "I'm Grayson." She looked at the hand for a moment before shaking it. "Isabella. Pleasure to meet you." He had no idea he was speaking to the most powerful mage in history. And somehow, that made the conversation feel more genuine than any she'd had in decades. She bought a basket of vegetables. Paid exactly 3 silver coins. Not a coin less. Not a coin more. When she turned to leave, Grayson simply waved. "Safe travels." Nothing more. No praise. No worship. No fearful whispers. Only kindness. Curiosity followed her all afternoon. Who was this man? How could someone living so close to the capital know so little about the woman every child in the kingdom recognized? Unable to resist, Isabella quietly followed his cart as he departed through the western gate. The road stretched into rolling fields kissed by the afternoon sun. Nearly an hour later, Grayson reached a modest cottage standing alone beside a small stream. There were no stone walls, no servants, no guards, only simplicity. 2 dogs ran excitedly to greet him. 2 cats lazily climbed onto the porch as if demanding attention. A patient gray donkey waited beside a weathered fence. A gentle brown cow lifted its head from the pasture. Grayson greeted every animal by name before unloading his cart. Behind the cottage lay rows upon rows of vegetables: tomatoes, beans, carrots, cabbages, herbs. Fruit trees lined the edges of the property, their branches heavy with apples, pears, peaches, and plums. Birds nested without fear. Butterflies drifted through blooming flowers. The only sounds were the breeze, the rustling leaves, and the happy barking of dogs. It was the smallest home Isabella had ever entered with her eyes. Yet it felt richer than the grandest halls of the royal palace. For the first time in her life, she saw a man who possessed almost nothing and seemed to need nothing more. Hidden among the trees, Isabella watched until sunset. She had spent years studying enemy kingdoms, battlefields, and ancient magic. Yet somehow, the quiet life of a lonely farmer fascinated her more than any mystery she had ever pursued.